Hi everyone, I'm Scott and welcome to another episode of The Unlikely Beak. So it's been about 2 weeks since we installed our April 20th packages and checked on the queen in our other 2 March 30th packages. And unfortunately, we did find that the queen in one of our March 30th packages was not mated. After 4 weeks, she was still just as tiny as a worker, and that colony was filled with drones. So we're definitely here today to probably shake that colony out and scrape those frames, because we cannot give frames that are filled with drone cells to another colony, or we'll just end up with more drones. We're going to come up with names for the colonies as time goes on, so it will be easier to refer to them. But we're going to check on that one. It was doing very well, and I believe it's ready for a second deep box. So we've brought one along, and we're going to be giving them that if it's time to do it. And we're also going to be checking on our April 20th packages to make sure that those queens are mated and doing well. Last time we were here, they were, had been released and had started to lay in the frames, but it was just too early to tell what our situation was, which is the same with our unfortunate unmated queen. When we had checked on her previously, it was still just too early to know. So enough talking about that. That's kind of what's going on today. So I'm gonna get suited up and head down there, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes. So we're all suited up and we're gonna check this first colony here. So I just need to get my gloves on and get my smoker running. Then we're gonna get inside and see what's going on. You can see here, as you can probably see here, they've taken all the syrup that I left them here. Now, I'm not going to feed this colony anymore. I'm going to grab this. I'm not going to feed this colony anymore. I gave them just a little bit more feed last time because I had checkered the last of the frames, and I wanted them to build those out, and feeding them is usually a good way to get them to do that. So, but they've taken all that feed as well, and just based on it's May 1st now, so I think there's probably, that colony is strong enough, or it has been strong enough. I have every reason to believe that it's still on track. I think they've got enough workforce now to handle it all on their own. So I'm going to be taking that feeder off today and taking it out of here. I hope to be doing it with the rest of the feeders on the other 3 colonies as well. So one lesson you will never learn here on The Unlikely Beak is how to keep your smoker lit, because I am terrible at it. So I see a little bit of syrup being put over here on this end frame, which is exactly what you'd want to see being done over here on an end frame. You don't see any eggs. It'd be very unlikely that the queen would want to lay over here. So as you can see here, they're just putting some syrup in there. There's a decent population over there all the way in. And as I look here across the entire colony here, I definitely see a decent number of bees. So I think as long as we don't find any, you know, queen cells or anything in here today, I think they're definitely ready for another box. So it's a good thing we brought that box along. This colony is definitely getting a second box today. So, and then so I'll show you what I'm going to do. Basically, it's really simple. We're just going to set a second box up. We'll pull one of these frames that have brood and stuff on it up into that second box, and that'll draw the bees up in there, and then more will come up in there, and hopefully they'll start drawing comb out in that box as well. Although I should be giving them some syrup to do that. I'm not going to. We're going to hope that at this point they can handle that on their own with natural sources. So we'll get back into the colony now. Very nice frame. Oh yeah, look at that brood pattern. Very nice. That's exactly the kind of brood pattern you want to see. So this colony is a champion, is a winner. From what I can see, this next frame is very, very similar. We're going to call the queen in this box Hannah. So this is going to be the Hannah queen. She's definitely a really great queen. She's doing exactly what we expect her to do. She's off to a really great start. So as you can see here, I've got two empty frames. I'm going to checkerboard those frames back into this bottom box, and then over here we have our second deep that we're going to put on. We're going to move these two frames of brood and stuff up into that deep. That will draw the bees up in there, and hopefully then they'll start building out comb on the other frames that are in that box. Okay, so as you can see here, we put that second box on here. I'm gonna move over here a little bit. My smoker is getting me. We're gonna put the second box, we put the second box here, and we move two frames of brood up into that box. You can see this here, right? This is a trick I learned from Jim at Vino Farm. And check out his YouTube channel. He's the famous beekeeper that has solved winter by completely redesigning a beehive. So he's hugely successful. This is a thing that he started out using. I adopted it. It's worked out very well for me. And what this does is this allows me to keep my quilt boards on all year long, but keep the bees out of the quilt board area and contained into the colony. Now they will propolize this screen a little bit, but not terribly, to still allow for airflow in the colony, but keep them out of there. And what's nice about that too is that they have a tendency to glue these outer lids down, make it very difficult to get them off. But in this kind of scenario, they cannot do that. So yeah, so I'm gonna be putting this on there and putting the quilt board back on. We're gonna be moving on to our first April 20th package to see what's going on inside. So as you can see here now, double size. So she should have plenty of room to lay up in there. Keep that colony going. That colony is doing absolutely fantastic. I am super happy about what I'm seeing in there. I have certainly seen bigger queens at this point. She's been in here for about 2 weeks. I don't know if you can see her. I'm not sure if the camera's picking her up there or not. I'll try to deal with that in post. Sorry about that. So we learned that our phone can only record for about 30 minutes before it stops recording. But so really the only thing I did at the end of this last bit that you saw was, I just finished closing the colony back up. So I still have one more April 20th package to check on. And I'm also going to get into this last colony that I know is queenless, because I found the tiny little runt of a queen last time that's been shooting blanks for the last 5 weeks now. and I squished her last time I was here. So we will definitely not find her in there, and I'm probably going to have to shake that colony out and take the frames with me so that I can scrape them and melt them down to recoat the frames that we will use later, either for second deeps for these existing colonies or for a couple of nukes that we think we're going to be picking up here in June. But in any event, I'm probably not, just for the sake of speed, I'm probably not going to film going into that second April 20th package, but I definitely will talk a little bit about what I find in there later. So I'm going to apologize right now for not having any footage of the Queenless hive like I promised. Sorry, I got in there and things just moved really fast. So I did find 2 capped queen cells in there, as well as another that was mostly built, although from what I could see, there was only just a small larva at the bottom and not a lot of jelly. So the presence of 2 capped queen cells, one looked a little bit better than the other one. It was longer and kind of more uniform like you would expect. I always call them peanuts. So in the future, if you hear me talking about finding a peanut in the hive, I really just mean a queen cell. So I did find 2 queen cells in there from the donor frame that I took from the Hannah hive. So I would only assume that they are, they obviously made a queen from that. Population was a little bit bigger than I remember from about a week ago. So what I decided to do is I decided I'm not shaking it out, which again is why you don't see, any video here of me doing that. I decided, you know what? It's not going to hurt or harm anything to give them another week or two to see what happens, and then if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out, and I can still shake out what's left, scrape the frames, start over again with that colony. So it's not a big deal. So, let's keep our fingers crossed for them. Hopefully they will be able to turn things around in there. It was only literally by how absolutely awesome and amazing the Hannah hive here is that they were in a position to be able to donate a frame. So we're really happy about that. Otherwise, everything looked good. So thank you again so much for tuning in to this 3rd episode of The Unlikely Beak. I hope you're enjoying the videos. I hope you're getting something from them. If there is anything that you would like to know or see in a future video, please leave a comment, and I will do everything I can to answer those questions and to deliver on those requests. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.